You before, with the former well known as Prince Harry, some people might suggest that despite all of that very vast and expensive education, when you think about it, he's clearly just a petulant child. Some people blame, of course, the late and beautiful Princess Diana, seemingly because she allowed him, allegedly, to get away with a lot more than, say, Prince William was and able to do. Obviously, his destiny was mapped out. Prince Harry had a far easier time. I've met, interviewed, and been very close to Prince Harry on various occasions, and you can see the petulance oozing out of him. In fact, Royal Protection Officers told me that he was the most difficult to deal with because he was the one always looking for attention, always starting trouble, as you can imagine. But now, recently, picking up this ridiculous award, the Legend of Aviation, you can understand there's a whole new level of petulance and confidence as he strutted onto the stage and decided, of course, to, shall we say, be rather dismissive of its host, the much respected Hollywood star John Travolta. But what's also interesting is this. According to a very well-placed source, as we now know, the Duke of Sussex is entitled to title himself that. Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex. But a little bit like Meghan, the titles they don't want to give up. We saw that in the interview with Tom Bradbury on ITV. What use would that be? He wants to cling on to this. Now, backstage, according to that well-planted source, they said, well, how would you like to be introduced? Is it just Harry informally, or Prince Harry, or Prince Harry, Duke of His Royal Highness? So for all of those people backlashing John Travolta, truly he was told what to say directly from the person in, literally in front of him. That was Prince Harry, as ever, we have to say, allegedly, but this is from an impeccable source. Not only that, when you also think about it, and this is the bit that I find very confusing, as we all now know, Prince Harry's decided to relinquish thousands of pounds simply because he wanted to take on board the British press, and sadly for him, it didn't work out the way he wanted, costing him an eye-watering amount of money. Now, what I find interesting is that none of these so-called celebrity friends who have got very deep pockets have so far come up to decide to pay off that bill. It's funny how they all go very quiet, isn't it, Prince Harry, when your need is greater than theirs, as it were. But more interestingly, according to a very well-placed source at the Mail, and also at the court, Harry wondered, could it be possible that, in fact, the delayed announcement of this particular, fracas, the fact that he decided to pull out of the case and pay a lot of money to the Mail Online, the associated newspaper group, because he felt it would overshadow this particular event. They very tactfully had to point out that this was legal system, legal recourse. This is how it works. You don't pick and choose as and when you put out your publicity, because there was a deadline, and the deadline had to be met by his lawyers. He and his lawyers had decided they weren't going to pursue. That was the end of the case. The moment that hits that, it becomes in the public domain. And again, you just come away thinking of all of those people that Harry and Meghan have around them, and indeed have paid thousands to, literally, when you think about it, over the last few years. Seemingly no one, whether they can get through or he will take notice or not, is basically saying, no, you can't do that, or yes, this is possible. But back, of course, to John Travolta. Puts him in a very embarrassing position, doesn't it? Because obviously, a little bit like Tom Cruise, he developed a good relationship with the British monarchy over here. And as we all know, and Prince Harry knows, he's not allowed to use the HRH title. But he did it in the Royal Courts of Justice, didn't he? Last year, titling himself His Royal Highness. Even though it's now removed off the royal website, seemingly Harry is not letting go. As ever, I'd love to know what you think to this particular story in the comments below. Please do like and share. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.